Once in a small village in Africa, there lived a poor man named Mosi. Mosi had lived a life of hardship, barely making ends meet by scavenging for discarded items on the road. From sunrise to sunset, he would roam the streets, collecting anything that could be sold: scraps of metal, broken bottles, old clothes. His weathered hands told stories of toil and survival, yet his heart was still kind and hopeful, believing that every day offered a new chance for something better. But not everyone saw the dignity in Mosi's work. One day, as he was going about his usual routine, a group of young men passed by and mocked him. "Look at the garbage man, living with trash," they sneered, their cruel laughter echoing through the street. At first, Mosi tried to ignore them, but as the days went by, the ridicule grew. People who had once paid him no attention now started to join in. Every time he ventured out, the insults would rain down. "Useless man, good for nothing but rubbish," they would jeer. The burden of these words weighed heavily on Mosi's soul. No longer did he walk with his head held high, searching for the next scrap to sell. His steps became slower, his shoulders hunched, and his heart grew heavier with each taunt. He had endured poverty, hunger, and loneliness, but this new humiliation was more than he could bear. His world became smaller, and soon, even the work that had once given him purpose felt meaningless. He started avoiding the streets where the bullies gathered, but no matter where he went, it seemed the shame followed him. One fateful evening, after another day of harsh words and sneers, Mosi could take no more. In his tiny, run-down shack, he sat alone, the weight of all the insults pressing down on him. The world had become too cruel, too dark. In his heart, he felt utterly defeated. That night, Mosi took his own life, leaving behind the harsh streets and cruel words forever. His body was found the next morning by a passerby, who, for once, looked at Mosi not with ridicule, but with sorrow. The village was shaken. The news of Mosi's death spread quickly, and people began to realize the part they had played in his despair. The laughter that had once been directed at him turned into a silence filled with guilt and regret. They remembered Mosi not as the garbage man, but as a human being who had quietly fought a battle for survival every day of his life. In his memory, the village elders called for a gathering and spoke about the importance of kindness, compassion, and the value of every person's life, no matter their circumstances. Though Mosi was gone, his story left a lasting impact on the village, serving as a reminder that the words we speak can either uplift or destroy. From that day on, the streets where Mosi once walked became a place of reflection, and his memory lived on in the hearts of those who had once scorned him. They had learned too late the lesson of empathy, but they vowed never to forget it again.